Sometimes in the rush of life, we forget that not every moment requires action. Not every situation demands a response. Sometimes the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to simply remain silent. In a world that constantly pushes us to speak, react, and engage, there is tremendous power in stepping back and allowing things to unfold on their own. When we embrace silence, we are giving ourselves the gift of patience. We stop forcing the issue and trust that in time, everything will come to us as it should. Patience is not an easy trait to master. In fact, it's one of the most challenging things we're called to do. But when we are silent, we allow ourselves to step out of the chaos of our thoughts and stop trying to control every aspect of our lives. Silence isn't the absence of action, it's the ability to remain still and let things unfold as they should. It's the belief that everything has its time and that we don't need to rush or push it forward. It's easy to get lost in the noise of life, the constant chatter of expectations, the pressure to act, and the overwhelming distractions all around us. But in silence, you find clarity. When the noise is quieted, your mind becomes clear enough to listen to your own heart, your own intuition. Silence gives you the space to hear the voice that is often drowned out by everything else. It's in these quiet moments that we come to understand what we truly need and what we truly want. In stillness, we recognize the path that's meant for us and gain the wisdom to walk it. One of the most profound lessons in life is learning to trust the timing of everything. We don't always see it, but everything is happening as it's meant to. Life has a rhythm, a flow that we cannot always control, but we can trust it. When we remain silent and stop trying to force outcomes, we allow the timing of our lives to work in our favor. We stop rushing to make things happen, and instead we let life reveal what's next for us in its own perfect time. And let me tell you, there's a strength in silence that most people don't understand. It's not about being passive or being weak. It takes incredible strength to stand firm and say, I'm not going to speak right now. I'm not going to react. I'm going to trust that in this silence I am growing. The world may not understand your silence, but that's okay. The strength that you develop in those quiet moments is more powerful than anything you could force through noise and action. It's in that silence that you begin to transform, to become the person you were meant to be. In the end, silence isn't about withdrawing or shutting down. It's about understanding that when you stay silent, you stop chasing. You stop seeking validation, you stop forcing connections, and you stop trying to control everything. You become a magnet for what is meant for you. When you trust the process, when you allow life to flow naturally, you will find that the right opportunities and the right people will come to you. You don't need to chase them. They will find their way to you just as they are meant to. So stay silent, trust the process, and watch everything unfold naturally. In the constant noise of life, we are often told that to succeed, we must act, speak up, and push forward relentlessly. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop. Take a moment to pause, step back, and simply let things be. When we choose silence, we choose to trust that not everything requires a reaction or a response. Too often, we think that we must control every outcome, every situation, and every relationship, but in reality, the most transformative actions can come when we take a step back and allow life to unfold on its own. In silence, we stop forcing things to happen, and in doing so, we create the space for something greater to come into our lives naturally. Silence isn't about ignoring or avoiding problems. It's about creating the time and space for clarity. When we remain silent in the face of adversity, frustration, or uncertainty, we allow our minds and hearts the freedom to find the right direction. In the rush to speak or act, we often drown out the wisdom that is already within us. But when we stop talking, when we stop forcing, we give ourselves the opportunity to listen to what's really going on beneath the surface. The solutions, the answers, the guidance, everything we need is often already within us, but we cannot hear it when we are too busy talking or acting impulsively. There's a certain wisdom that comes with restraint, a kind of inner strength that develops when we realize that not every moment needs a reaction. Silence requires self-control. It's easy to speak when we feel provoked, challenged, or hurt. But it's much harder to remain silent, to sit in the discomfort of a moment and resist the urge to act. This act of self-control is not weakness, it's power. By choosing not to respond immediately, we are giving ourselves the opportunity to think clearly, to respond from a place of understanding and purpose, rather than emotion or reaction. Silence also teaches us patience. In our modern world, we're accustomed to instant results, instant communication, and quick fixes. But life doesn't always work that way. Some of the most important things in life take time, whether it's building a relationship, growing in our careers, or achieving personal growth. By remaining silent, we are giving ourselves permission to wait. Not wait passively or idly, but wait with trust that what we need will come to us in its own time. We may not have all the answers right now, but we don't need to rush to find them. Silence allows us to rest in the knowledge that we are on the right path, and the next step will come when the time is right. Moreover, silence is not just an absence of words, it is a powerful statement. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, trying to make their mark, those who choose silence stand out. The world may try to convince us that we must constantly speak to make a difference, but the truth is that sometimes the most profound impact comes not from what we say, but from what we choose not to say. Silence is a form of strength, of confidence. It says that we trust ourselves enough to let go of the need to control every conversation, every situation, and every outcome. When we remain silent, we are allowing space for something greater than ourselves to work in our lives. We stop trying to force outcomes and instead trust that what is meant for us will naturally come in time. Silence, then, is a choice to trust not only in ourselves, but also in the process of life itself. Ultimately, the power of silence is in its ability to guide us toward peace, clarity, and growth. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world and believe that the only way to move forward is to speak up and act immediately. But when we take a step back, when we choose silence, we create room for the things that truly matter to come into our lives. In that silence, we find our strength, we find our peace, and we find the ability to move forward in a way that feels aligned with our true purpose. So, stay silent, not as an escape, but as a way of trusting the natural flow of life. Allow things to come to you in their own time, with patience, with trust, and with confidence. In our fast-paced world, the idea of waiting for things to unfold can feel uncomfortable, even foreign. We are conditioned to believe that action is the key to success, that without constant movement, we'll fall behind. Yet the truth is, some of life's greatest victories come not from rushing to make something happen, but from patiently allowing things to come to us when the time is right. This doesn't mean we sit idly by, waiting for life to happen, but it means having the discipline and trust to step back and wait for the right opportunities to reveal themselves. Patience isn't about passively waiting for things to fall into our lap. It's about maintaining faith during the waiting period. It's the confidence that the right door will open when it's time. Too often we get discouraged during moments of uncertainty, thinking we're stuck or that nothing is happening. However, waiting is an active process. It's the time where we learn the most about ourselves, where we strengthen our resilience and build the character necessary to handle the opportunities that will come. It's in the waiting that we're able to reflect on our desires, clarify our goals, and prepare ourselves for the right moment. Without this period of patience, we risk acting out of desperation or impatience, and that can lead to mistakes or decisions that we later regret. Trusting in the timing of life means believing that everything we need will come at the right time and not a second sooner or later. Moreover, during the waiting period, we also learn to let go of our need for control. Life will unfold in ways that we can't always predict or manage. And when we are constantly trying to push things to happen on our own timeline, we create unnecessary stress. By choosing patience, we're saying, I trust the process. It's a profound act of surrender, recognizing that not everything needs to be forced, controlled, or managed. Sometimes, the best thing we can do is trust that the universe, or the greater plan that's in motion, knows more than we do about the right timing. When we stop trying to force outcomes, we free ourselves from unnecessary anxiety and open ourselves to new opportunities that we may have missed if we were too focused on rushing ahead. The waiting process is also a powerful tool for building resilience. When we practice patience, we are teaching ourselves to handle uncertainty with grace. The waiting periods of our lives are where we are tested, where our faith is refined, and where we grow into the person we need to be to handle the blessings that are on their way. Patience is not an inherent trait for most of us, but it is something that can be cultivated. It teaches us the importance of trusting the process, not just in moments of ease, but especially when things feel uncertain. Life doesn't always unfold the way we expect, And waiting allows us to practice flexibility, to stay grounded even when things seem out of our control. Over time, as we grow in patience, we develop a deeper sense of trust in ourselves and in the unfolding of our lives. Trusting the timing of life doesn't mean we never take action. It's about understanding when to move forward and when to step back. It's about knowing that while we may not be able to control the timing of everything, we can control our response. The moments of waiting teach us to be ready, to stay prepared for when the right opportunities do come. We do not wait in vain. Every moment is a chance to grow, to strengthen our inner resolve, and to refine our vision. As we wait, we're actively building the patience and the wisdom necessary to fully embrace the blessings that will eventually come our way. And when they do, we'll be ready. In life, there are moments where we feel compelled to speak, act, or move quickly, but often the greatest strength comes from silence and stillness. Silence doesn't mean we're weak or passive. Rather, it can be an act of profound strength. In those moments when everything inside us urges us to react or to fill the space with words or actions, silence becomes a tool for clarity. Silence creates the space we need to process, to think, and to hear what our hearts and minds are trying to tell us. It allows us to separate ourselves from the chaos of the world and reconnect with our true selves. It is in the quiet moments where we tap into the deepest sense of our purpose, where we can hear the guidance of our inner voice, and often, it's in silence that we experience the most significant breakthroughs. When we choose silence, we are choosing to let go of the pressure to control everything around us. There's a power in stepping back and allowing life to unfold naturally. Sometimes, we believe that if we don't keep pushing forward, everything will fall apart. We're taught to think that progress is made only through constant activity, that we must keep moving, speaking, and doing. However, true progress often comes in the moments when we stop striving and allow things to come to us. There is a time for action, yes, but there is also a time for quiet reflection, for trusting that what is meant for us will come at the right time. In the silence, we allow space for our inner wisdom to guide us. It's not about waiting without purpose, but rather waiting with intent. It's about trusting that the answers we seek will not always come in the noise of our day-to-day lives, but in the peaceful quiet of our souls. It is in these still moments where clarity arises. We begin to understand the steps we must take, the decisions we need to make, and the direction we should follow. Silence is where patience is cultivated, where wisdom is gained, and where our hearts and minds can become aligned with the greater plan for our lives. Furthermore, silence allows us to develop the ability to listen, not just to others, but also to ourselves. The noise of everyday life often drowns out the truth we need to hear. When we are silent, we stop trying to solve everything on our own and instead open ourselves to guidance from a higher power, whether that's faith, intuition, or a sense of inner knowing. Silence doesn't just allow us to listen to our inner selves, but it also positions us to hear what the universe is trying to communicate. In the quiet, we receive clarity on what's most important, what aligns with our values, and what we truly need to focus on moving forward. Choosing silence, then, becomes an act of discipline and faith. It's not an easy choice to make, especially in a world that constantly encourages us to speak, to act, and to prove ourselves. But silence, when practiced intentionally, is an act of trust. It's trusting that what we need will come to us in its own time, trusting that the right answers will emerge when we're ready to hear them. It's choosing not to force things, but instead allowing them to come to fruition in their own natural rhythm. When we embrace silence, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with ourselves and with the world around us, trusting that everything we need will be revealed to us when the time is right. It's in this stillness that we learn the most profound lessons of all. In life, there's often a tendency to feel like we need to act immediately in order to achieve results. Whether it's making a decision, pursuing a dream, or navigating a challenge, there's an underlying belief that speed is synonymous with success. Yet, when we stay silent and allow life to unfold naturally, we come to understand that some of the most significant breakthroughs come not from rushing, but from trusting the process. There's a reason why great things take time sometimes. What we need most is patience. Patience isn't about waiting aimlessly. It's about understanding that everything unfolds in its own time, and that our efforts, when combined with faith, will eventually lead us to exactly where we need to be. When we stay silent and allow the natural course of things to happen, we stop forcing outcomes. Instead, we recognize that some things cannot be hurried no matter how much we want them. Trusting that things will come to us when the time is right is one of the hardest yet most rewarding lessons we can learn. It's not easy to wait, especially in a world that moves so quickly. But when we choose stillness and silence, we find that the answers we seek often come when we least expect them. The silence becomes a space for transformation, where we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives and start learning how to flow with the natural rhythms of life. This approach teaches us that not everything has to be forced. Whether it's a relationship, a career move, or a personal growth journey, things will come to fruition when the time is right. And sometimes it's in those quiet moments when we resist the urge to chase after every opportunity or respond to every challenge immediately that we gain clarity and wisdom. We realize that by staying silent, we create the space for new opportunities to emerge organically. There's a deep satisfaction in allowing life to surprise us and reveal its possibilities when we're patient enough to let it unfold. The act of staying silent also helps us find peace with uncertainty. We often feel the need to have everything figured out in advance, but in reality, life is full of unknowns, and that's okay. We don't always need to know the exact path ahead of us. By staying silent and trusting that we are exactly where we need to be, we allow room for the future to be revealed step by step. It's in these moments of quiet that we often find clarity about our next steps, our next move, or the direction we should take. Staying silent isn't about being passive. It's about being present. It's about understanding that there is wisdom in stillness, and that through patience we cultivate the ability to recognize opportunities when they arise. Instead of getting caught up in the noise and distractions of the world, we allow ourselves to be attuned to the subtler, more profound signals that guide us forward. Everything in life has its season, and when we stop trying to force things to happen, we create the perfect environment for the right things to come to us naturally. When you embrace the idea that everything will come to you naturally, you begin to realize the profound importance of timing in life. Timing is everything, and understanding that things unfold in their own time is a powerful mindset shift. There's a tendency in life to rush towards success, to want things to happen immediately or in a very specific way. But true growth and achievement come from letting things take their course. There's wisdom in stepping back and allowing life to reveal itself to you when it's ready. Learning to trust timing means trusting that the universe, or whatever higher power you believe in, has a plan for you that doesn't need to be rushed. The best things in life often come to us when we least expect them, when we've learned to let go of the anxiety and pressure of forcing things to work. Instead of constantly striving, trying to manipulate outcomes, we begin to trust that the right opportunities will present themselves at the right moment. This shift in mindset allows us to stop trying to control every detail and instead start focusing on the journey and the lessons it brings. This trust in timing is also about having patience with yourself. Sometimes we look around and compare our progress to others, wondering why we haven't achieved what others have at the same stage in life. The reality is that each journey is unique, and comparison often leads us down a path of frustration. When we stop trying to compete with others and start focusing on our own path, we realize that our timing will come when we're ready for it. The peace that comes from this understanding is immeasurable. It's about accepting that you don't have to be in a hurry, that your life doesn't have to look like anyone else's, and that everything will unfold as it's meant to. When you stop forcing things, you start to recognize that you are being prepared for what's next in your life. Sometimes the silence, the stillness, and the waiting period are there to teach you valuable lessons that you wouldn't otherwise learn. Whether it's building inner strength, learning humility, or understanding the value of hard work, everything you experience is part of the preparation for what lies ahead. The key is learning to trust that the right moments will come. And in those moments, you will be ready. Timing also teaches us about resilience. There will be moments of doubt and frustration when we feel like nothing is happening or things aren't progressing the way we want them to. However, when you keep your focus on the bigger picture, you begin to see how those quieter periods of life are building the foundation for your future success. They are teaching you perseverance, patience, and resilience. They are preparing you for the opportunities that will come in due time. Learning to trust timing allows you to flow through life with a sense of ease, knowing that things will come to you naturally when the time is right. You don't need to chase after everything, because when you stay present, calm, and patient, you realize that the best things will come when they're meant to, not when you demand them. You begin to let go of the anxiety and the urgency, and instead you find comfort in the rhythm of life as it unfolds, with everything falling into place at just the right moment. In conclusion, embracing the truth that everything will come to you naturally is a transformative mindset. It requires patience, trust, and the wisdom to recognize that life's greatest blessings often arrive when we least expect them. By staying silent, letting go of control, and trusting the timing of your journey, you allow space for the right opportunities and experiences to unfold. There's power in knowing that your path is uniquely yours, and that rushing or forcing things will only lead to frustration. When you allow life to unfold on its own, you create room for personal growth, fulfillment, and success to come to you in its own perfect time. So stay still, trust the process, and watch as everything you need finds its way to you when the moment is right.